What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Aaron Nix, and this is the WWE Raw review. Apologies, it's been a while, but we have been crazy busy dealing with all kinds of shenanigans. However, WWE Raw were on the road to WrestleMania Backlash, and Raw offered up something that I actually quite enjoyed, starting with the opener, which was the Bloodline facing off with the Judgement Day. And everyone's like, oh baby, faction warfare. And that was kind of the big deal here, opening and closing the show. So of course, Judgement Day is squaring off with the Bloodline, minus Roman Reigns, of course. And then we find out from Paul Heyman that he's cut a deal. Judgment Day does Bloodline a favour, and vice versa. Bloodline does Judgment Day a favour. And that starts, of course, with Solo Sikoa dispatching Rey Mysterio. But right before we get to that, we have this fantastic little bit of tension between Rhea Ripley and Solo Sikoa, and I love that. It's brilliant as well, because Paul Heyman's like, hey Jay, you mind swapping places? And then Rhea Ripley immediately swaps places so she can stare at Solo Sikoa some more. I'm loving this, because intergender wrestling isn't that much of a thing in WWE, if at all. But Rhea Ripley is really blurring those lines. She's getting physical with a lot of the men at ringside, as we saw in the main event. And she's staring down Solo Sikoa, who is easily being represented as the baddest man in WWE right now. Only lost, what, 1 or 2 matches? I think Cody Rhodes is the only guy to beat him officially. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure some sweaty nerd on the internet will do so. But it's just the feeling, palpable feeling of superstars clashing, and it makes it feel like a big deal. And that's what always makes these segments so good. Paul Heyman's fire on the microphone. Then, of course, we get Solo Sikoa versus Rey Mysterio in a fucking great match. Rey Mysterio, he's in the Hall of Fame. He's had his match with Dominic at WrestleMania, and you're thinking, you know, what else is there to do? But he still comes out here and has a world-class contest. He's still got so much gas in the tank. It's almost like he's still in his prime, and I think that's really fucking cool. Solo Sikoa, of course, picks up the win due to shenanigans. A lot of that, of course, due to the distraction, because more faction warfare, LWO, the Latino World Order, which, of course, used to be Legado del Fantasma, still not feeling it, I've got to say. I'm really excited about the LWO being back, but for me, the LWO was kind of like the greasy tweeners, the heels of WCW. Here, they're just presented as a bunch of goober Mexican baby faces. And I feel like Santos Escobar has so much more to offer. Now, of course, if he's going to turn heel on Rey Mysterio down the line and maybe take his space, his spot as the big luchador, the main Latin representation in his company, and of course align himself with maybe Dominic Mysterio, that's good business. But I'm not seeing that right now. So, of course, faction warfare is great. I do love the LWO. I love what it stands for. But it all just feels like more piggybacking off of Eddie Guerrero's legacy. And I get that, because obviously Eddie Guerrero was such an important part of everything that was, you know, near and dear to Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. But, man, talk about beating a dead horse with a shovel. They just keep smashing you over the head with it. We get it, you know. We all loved Eddie Guerrero deeply, but to kind of hang on to him this way, for me, I don't know, just doesn't sit as well with me. But nonetheless, great match. They're teasing dissension between Damage Control, which is a good thing because it's starting to get a little bit stale. Dakota Kai and Io Shirai saying, hey, you know what? We want to break out on our own. And we saw that last week with Io Shirai. This week it's Dakota Kai's opportunity. She faces Bianca Belair. Great match again. Really good women's match. There's a real disparity, however, between the great women's wrestlers and the average women's wrestlers. It feels like the golfing class is getting bigger. Maybe that's just me. Dakota Kai, on the other hand, does bridge that gap. She does feel like she could be a superstar. She's beautiful. She's technically sound. She's very physical in the ring, despite her more diminutive size. Good match. It's a slow burn. We're teasing it. Bayley looks disappointed, but ultimately it's still kind of in her corner. And obviously Dakota Kai looks dejected. And we're wondering how long before Damage Control gets to true dissension and just breaks apart. Right before one of my favourite segments in recent memory, we get one of my favourite backstage promos in recent memory. So the Judgment Day backstage. Paul Heyman comes over and goes, Solo Sikoa did his job. What do you think, Finn? And Finn goes, which Paul Heyman mocks him for. And then Rhea Ripley just looks at him and goes, bye, Paul. And he goes, call Roman Reigns, and leaves. And again, it's that intimidation factor that Rhea Ripley just brings to the table that no other women's wrestler can do. She is absolutely a monster, a beast, a fantastic high-end athlete. You can believe that she can whip quite a lot of the men on this roster, and that's why stuff like this is so cool. And Paul Heyman is so good as that sniveling, grimy little heel that just skulks off because he didn't get what he wanted, and that works for me. I thought this was a lot of fun. It was very entertaining. I just love the fact that Finn Balor is like, Finn Balor gets over. That's pretty impressive, actually. Finn Balor really seems to have turned a corner since he joined Judgment Day. At first, I thought, oh man, this isn't going to work. They booted Edge out. He's the de facto leader. But it's working, and Finn Balor had a great Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. You always get credibility when you have such a harsh injury like he did. And to be honest, I'm really digging the Judgment Day right now. The vibes, and of course, they're legitimized by having a legitimate world champion in Rhea Ripley. Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. Wow. Do you know what? For the longest time, it felt like WWE didn't have any stars. They'd always have one or two max. You know, it was either John Cena, then it was Roman Reigns, but you never felt like anyone else was really on their level other than Brock Lesnar. But this kind of current show that we're seeing has a lot more going for it. And Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar both feel like megastars. Brock Lesnar is the unstoppable monster, the beast who can dismantle everybody. And Cody Rhodes is the perfect babyface. He really has come on leaps and bounds from AEW. It's amazing to think, like, if Cody Rhodes had stayed in AEW, probably would have been a mid-card bitch at this point if he was lucky, maybe in a rivalry with Hangman Page, whatever, and he would have been very forgettable on a Wednesday night. Instead, he's one of the biggest stars in wrestling right now. He feels like Roman Reigns is equal, and the fact that he's facing Brock Lesnar is really cool because it gives you that break between Roman Reigns having to defend the title maybe later down the line at SummerSlam. And yet, this still feels like a marquee WrestleMania main event worthy match. And the fact it's at Backlash, hopefully it's going to headline it. And the segment was fucking great. Cody's fire on the microphone. I really like Adam Pearce as a GM. It actually works for me. I'm feeling super positive about the product, which is very strange. Probably because I'm doing really well at life right now and, you know, just enjoying what I'm doing in the British independent wrestling scene. So maybe it's easier to watch this stuff. And also the fact that I kind of watched it on delay. So I was able to skip through the bits that maybe I was a bit like, eh. And that obviously makes 3 hours of Raw go by a lot quicker. But this segment was pure fire. Brock Lesnar coming out with the jacket and the hat, looking like countrified Undertaker. And it worked. I genuinely thought, wow, he looks terrifying. Well, that's what Uncle Howdy should have looked like instead of the goober that we're getting when Bray Wyatt and all that decided to turn up. By the way, I haven't watched the product in a little while. Where's Bray Wyatt? What happened? Is he injured? Has he just run off? Has he got fingered backstage? No clue. Somebody tell me where Bray Wyatt is. Also, we can do without Uncle Howdy because personally I thought that sucked, if I'm being honest. But this is pure money. And Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. Love the security bit. Love the fact that Cody Rhodes battered everybody while Brock Lesnar just laughed at him and left. And then he calls him a coward on the mic. The whole thing just was beautifully done. And Adam Pearce obviously announcing the match, making it official, trying to get Cody to calm down. But Cody being all fired up as the babyface. Pure money. This is a license to print money. And if the match is half as good as we expect it to be, then this is going to be an amazing transitional rivalry before we get back to possibly Cody Rhodes later down the line capturing the big gold. Speaking of certifiable bangers, gotta be honest, I saw Seth Rollins versus The Miz and thought, oh, why? I don't want to see this. I love both these guys. They're both amazing workers. They're great wrestlers. They're great talents. They're great promos. But I feel like I've seen it 50 times. And I probably have. But this was actually a fucking match of the year candidate, at least as far as Raw is concerned. If this isn't up there as one of the best matches you've seen on Raw all year by the end of this year, I'll be surprised because this was fucking awesome. And once again, it proves something that a lot of us diehards have been saying. The Miz is so good and so underrated, and every single time he proves it, we just seem to forget it, and then he does it again. This match with Seth Rollins, wow, this was the workers match. I appreciated this. This was pure sports entertainment based wrestling, but it was absolutely phenomenal. Great back and forth. Every time you thought The Miz was just going to get wiped out, he came back with something more. They just unloaded all of their moves here, and it worked really, really well. Very little in the way of wasted motion as well, despite the fact the match went pretty long for a 3-hour Raw. And this is something that when Raw was successful, for the most part, under 3 hours, is because they always had this world-class wrestling match in the middle. And this format works. Great entertainment, big stars all over the place. And again, we're talking about stars. The Miz and Seth Rollins, okay, maybe not main event level at the moment in terms of WrestleMania because of what Roman Reigns and Brock and Cody are doing. But right there, just behind him, it's like 1 and 1A. And they feel like big stars, especially Seth Rollins, who, of course, is over like Rover. Nice to see the return of the crazy Rollins face as well, where he's like, nah. It's good shit. It's a great match. I'll tell you what, if you aren't really a big fan of Raw, but you like a good wrestling match, this is the match you want to go out of your way to watch, because this was by far the best wrestling contest that WWE Raw had all night. And that's saying something, because Solo Sikoa and Rey Mysterio was a banger as well. It's not for everyone, and I do feel sorry for Bobby Lashley to a certain degree because it feels like he's been lost in the shuffle. But Bobby Lashley faced Austin Theory in an amazing match. Unfortunately, it was interrupted, which meant a no contestu because of Bronson Reed, who's getting the big push. And I'm excited about this because anyone who knows me knows I loved Jonah Rock on the Indies. I feel like he's got so much potential. He's huge, he's powerful, and he's actually quite good on the mic as well. Something that maybe people say, is he going to be able to do the sport and entertainment part of things as well? Bronson Reed kind of doing what Keith Lee couldn't in this company, and it's not obviously all Keith Lee's fault when he was in WWE because the booking just didn't make sense with the guy, but Bronson Reed seems to have slotted into that monster kind of mid-card slot so beautifully, and he's filled that gap, and if anything, for me, he's totally eclipsed whatever Keith Lee did in WWE, which is a shame because Keith Lee in NXT was absolute fire, whereas Bronson Reed, okay in NXT, but nothing special. So Bronson Reed actually really starting to stand out, and of course, his rivalry with Bobby Lashley is cool because everyone loves everybody loves a King Kong versus Godzilla matchup. And although Omos and Brock Lesnar was good for the marquee, Omos is it's just shit. He can't work. Black Gonzalez, mate. Fucking awful. And the Nigerian tree, I call him. Because he just can't fucking move for shit. He's a terrible, terrible worker. However, Bronson Reed and Bobby Lashley, they can fucking go. They are absolutely fire as big men. And it worked beautifully for me. So, for me, I'm actually kind of excited about this. I'm assuming a one-on-one match at Backlash. Hopefully give them plenty of time. Get Bronson Reed smashed over just that little bit more with a credible win over arguably the best powerhouse big man of the last sort of 3 or 4 years, at least in the mid-card in Bobby Lashley. It's just a shame because you feel like Bobby Lashley should be a megastar, and whenever somebody wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, I'm thinking, you're fucked now. And look at all the past winners. Proves my point, really. Madcap Moss, where the fuck are you? Baron Corbin, Taxi, you're backstage with Akira Tozawa, state of that. A multitude of different people who have won it, and frankly haven't done much. Quite a few of them now, including Cesaro, are in AEW. So yeah, that's a thing. Mojo Rawley, I'm pretty sure he won, didn't he, as well? Great. It is what it is. But ultimately, I like this, and I'm excited about it. But of course I do, because I love meaty fucking men slapping meat in a meaty Hoss division. That's what I like. Why, yeah. Get your meaty Hoss erection ready.
Have you ever added it up, sir? Must be a bewildering number.
What? Gushing torrent of young ladies.
An avalanche of quim.
A mountain of minge. Cornucopia of...
Suit you, sir. Suit you, sir.
Trish Stratus cuts a promo and explains why she turned heel on Becky Lynch. Simple, effective, and oh my god. Trish Stratus, right? Like, I remember being 15 years old and seeing Trish Stratus on Sunday Night Heat and thinking, kapow, human tripod alert, because obviously at 15 years old, well, there's only one thing you're doing when you see someone of Trish Stratus' caliber on your TV. And to be honest, we're still doing it now. That woman is 47 years old. Holy shit. Like, oh, fuck me. She looked amazing. The only thing that bugged me about this segment are the WWE fans chanting what? You know what? Austin, you have a lot to answer for, mate. Because that fucking chant is cancerous. I fucking detest it. I want to know what you guys think. Maybe leave a comment below and let us know what you think about the watch chants. For me, they fucking suck. They completely derail the credibility of people's promos. Doesn't matter how good the promo is. And frankly, it kind of makes wrestling fans look even more fucking stupid than they already can be. Yes, I know, we're all sweaty marks to a certain degree, but man, like, there's a difference between having fun and just getting yourself over and derailing the product, and that's what the watch chants do. And I can understand it if someone's cutting a shit promo, but Trish Stratus cut a great promo here. She can still cut a promo. She made it very clear why she turned on Becky Lynch and ultimately made some very good points as well. I'm not a sidekick. I'm the woman who really kick-started this revolution, because when I came in, women's wrestling was a joke. And it wasn't about me and Lita. It was about me. Great heel stuff, by the way. Oh, she looked bombastic. My god. I mean, I won't even make 47, but if I do, and there are women like Trish Stratus running around at the gym, Lord have mercy. How much I have failed at life. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville versus Mia Yim and Candice LeRae. No spank you. Matt Riddle. I did hear that he had come back. Awesome. Very, very cool. Is he a main event star for me? No, but he's quite close to it, to be fair. He's tagging up with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who massively feel like a big deal, don't they? Oh, what a wise decision putting the tag titles on those guys. And I love the fact that they're still a big problem for the Bloodline. And of course, that's why they face the Judgment Day tonight. Could Judgment Day uphold their end of the bargain? Short answer, no. Team Canada, Team Bro Canada, whatever you want to fucking call those guys. Great match, really fun. More of a spot fest. Love Rhea Ripley on the outside, knocking out Kevin Owens as well at one point, just getting involved constantly and then getting ejected. It all broke down, however, just a massive clusterfuck at the end. Absolutely insane. Great match, absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, Matt Riddle getting the floating bro as well, which is very, very cool. But the big kind of story here is faction warfare. LWO, the Bloodline, Judgment Day, and of course Team Bro Canada. We'll work on it. We'll find a nickname for them. All four of these factions going after each other reminded me of 1997. Who remembers the Disciples of the Apocalypse, Los Barriqua, and the Nation Domination going after each other? That was a little bit more racially tense, if we're being honest. But it was still kind of cool when I was a kid. I was like 12 at the time, and I thought that was the coolest fucking thing I'd ever seen. Gang warfare, for some reason, was really cool to me when I was 12, which speaks volumes about my upbringing. But yeah, overall, great Raw. A couple of things, you know, in the middle that I don't care about. It's amazing. The women's division is either incredible or shit. You know, Dakota Kai and Bianca Belair, great match. Then the women's tag team match, I was like, oh, do not give a fuck. Despite the fact that the most beautiful woman to ever walk this earth, Liv Morgan, was at ringside and got covered in water, which I assume was just for me. So thank you very much to whoever's in charge of creative. Triple H, Vince McMahon, no idea. Thought Raw was pretty solid, actually. A really strong 7 out of 10. Would have given it maybe 8 or 9, but I kind of reserved that for special Raw. So yeah, I thought this was really good. And ultimately, it's punctuated by Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. That's the match I want to see, and I hope that's going to main event Backlash. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this impromptu WWE Raw review. A few people might be saying, yo, where the fuck you at? Especially my boy Lee. It's been busy, man. Super, super busy. Been doing a lot of stuff on the British independent circuit, as everyone knows. Been very blessed to have achieved so much lately, and I'm very thankful to everyone who has still supported the channel and supported Wrestle Plug. We keep soldiering on. We do things that maybe push the boat out a little bit that not everybody finds acceptable, but I'm okay with that. I would rather be honest. I'd rather give you an uncensored and honest podcast as opposed to some fucking bullshit woke load of garbage. That's just not my cup of tea, as you know. But from myself, Aaron Nix, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.